Hello and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be discussing the dangers of overtraining and how often you should be training per week, because I've seen many cases where it's been overdone, especially recently. So firstly, we must define what exercise is actually meant to do for us. So we all know it's good for us, and we know it's important and does a lot of great things for many things of our body, like our lungs with oxygen, our heart. Without enough activity we don't pump enough blood, and without these things we die. So we know we need some activity. If we don't move, we're going to be in trouble. So our brain, we're stimulated, that keeps us sort of everything moving well. Obviously joints and bones are affected, and even mentally there's a lot of great benefits to exercise. So there's strength training, there's cardio training, stretching, yoga, Pilates, all these different methods of training. They're all great. There's a limit to how much you can do. So and what we need to define is just exactly what that is. So firstly, when we exercise, what does it actually do to us? So we know that we just spoke about then the benefits to parts of our body, but the actual, when we're doing it, it's basically overloading the systems and the fuel stores. So it's definitely a stress to the body. This is no two ways about it. It's a stress to the body. Even stretching is a stretch, because you're trying to manipulate a structure of the body and trying to change it from what it currently where it feels safe and capable at the moment. So the purpose of it is that when we apply this stress to the body, it creates an overload, and then the overload forces the body to find a way to adapt, so that if it happens again the next time, it's ready for it, and it's either stronger, faster, or more flexible, whatever it is you're trying to do. Now, for that actually to happen, for the adaptation to occur, the training stress has to be at a certain level. So if it's insufficient, as I've got here, no adaptations will occur. So if you're only doing a bench press with a barbell, it's not hard enough to change anything. However, if you've got that much weight on it, then there's going to be a significant adaptation happening to it. Now, on the flip side of that, if the workload's too much, or if it's done too often or performed too quickly, then fatigue follows really quickly, and then performance is greatly reduced. And obviously injury is probably the next result. But in both cases, no adaptations will occur, because the amount that you're using or how often you're doing it is no good. So in the case of sprinting, if you're overtraining, it's really going to impair your performance. You're not going to get faster at all. You're actually going to get slower, and eventually you're going to have a problem. All right. So the exercise is a great choice. Just how often you're doing it is leading to the problem. So the thing that's really important for training is recovery. So, because the work alone, you can't just sprint every day and automatically be a good sprinter. Any elite sprinter would tell you can't do that. It's really important to find ways to speed up your recovery. So for the best results, the best way, if you can find ways to encourage the adaptation to be quicker, so planning more recovery activities around it. So ice, I'm not a big fan of ice bath, but just to give you an example, could be massage, could be stretching, could be various things. If you can apply them, then you're going to greatly increase your chance of getting back to your sprinting or your bench press, whatever it is you want to do, to be able to do it at its absolute peak performance. So the key is the sooner you recover, the fresher you are to undertake the training, and the better chance of improving. All right. As I mentioned earlier, where I see so many problems that lately are from just people going so hard at their training, really loving their training, but training 5 to 6 days straight of constant strength training, high intensity interval training. I've got F45 and CrossFit here. Now, I'm not criticizing either of these. They both have some great stuff in there, and plenty of people do really well. Unfortunately, some people are not educated enough to know that you just cannot train at a high intensity 5 to 6 days in a row. You just cannot do it. All right, it's the laws of nature. It's like night and day, hot and cold. They've got to oppose each other. For you to train hard, you must have a period of low intensity and recovery. Without it, you will suffer. And lately I've seen 10 people this year with bulging discs or hip problems caused from this sort of group training where it's just intense and it's it's just get it done more. All right, so the key is finding the balance between quality and quantity of the training. You just got to find the right amount of how much is enough where you keep the quantity high, the quality high, but try and add as much as this as you can without it going into the overload. All right, so it's like always trying to balance. Great quote from Gray Cook here is that whenever possible, we must separate movement dysfunction from fitness and performance. Aggressive physical training cannot change fundamental mobility and stability problems at an effective rate without also introducing a degree of compensation and increased risk of injury. So basically what that's saying is if you're trying to apply aggressive fitness physical training and there's a problem with how you're moving, you are just increasing the risk of compensating and developing a problem. So you basically cannot train fitness on top of something that's got a problem. All right, and even if you didn't have a problem, too much physical training will create a problem because you're going to be too fatigued to do things correctly. So how much is enough? Well, if we separate training session into 4 phases, there's fatigue, where the training itself produces muscle fatigue and the strength decreases. The second phase is recovery phase, so includes the straight after it, and then the delayed recovery when the muscle fibers, that's the DOMS sort of feeling. Then there's the adaptation phase, which sort of follows the recovery phase, and that's when you sort of feel good and you're ready to go back, but you're not really 100% recharged. And that's where I see a lot of people come back to heavy training too quickly. And the fourth phase is when you return, and then that's where all your strength gains from step 1 from the last training have all been forced upon the body, and everything's going to be great. If you come back too soon, problems. All right, so how much is enough? Well, if we look at this graph here, you sort of see the training bout here, these fatigue kicks in, then there's a recovery process. So this is where you were when you started this session. So you're nowhere near where you were when you started. So this is, let's say if this is a week, this is Monday, this is Tuesday. So if you come and train Tuesday, you're actually not as good at your muscles, bones, ligaments, tendons, everything, brain even, is nowhere near as good as what it was when you started on Monday. You come back to Wednesday, you're sort of coming in here, but you're not really at the full recovery stage, because that's going to really be around Thursday. All right, so that's really when you need to come back and hit your training again here, otherwise you're going to slide back to where you started, so that'll be Friday. So that'll be too long between. All right, so if you understand these sort of phases of the training, you can sort of really begin to see how quickly you can come back and train again. All right, now the key to is intensity here. So if I don't train very hard, the damage is not very much. So then the recovery time is less. So I mean, I could come back by Wednesday if I was doing a low intensity workout. But the higher the intensity and the greater the damage, I must come back later. Now you might be saying, well, why don't I just train low intensity all the time? Well, low intensity doesn't yield very much adaptation, so there's not as much, so the line here doesn't come up as high. So if I want to have huge adaptation, I must train at a higher level. So I can train more often here, but I'm not really achieving much. I achieve a lot here, but I can't train that often. So can you see how it's like a balancing act that you must work out? That's the key. So the key here is the intensity. You change in the intensity is what determines the length of every program. So for example, a walk here for 60 minutes is not the same as doing a 60-minute workout for an older adult. So the same age, this guy's going to have a lot of muscle fatigue and damage that's going to take a couple of days to recover from. This guy's going to have nothing. He's going to be recovered by the next day. He'll be probably recovered within the day. Now, this guy's going to improve remarkably from doing less than what this guy is. All right, so he's training every day. He's training 3 times a week, but he's going to have significant more improvements across his entire body than this guy who just goes for the walk. All right. So the optimal time. So if we've got here strength, the first one here, so the training bout, this is the perfect optimal frequency. All right, so I'm coming in, there's my damage, the adaptation's kicking in, and I come back and hit it right at the perfect time. And then because I add it again at the perfect time, I get it gradual. See, I'm gradually climbing, and I'm lifting the line of normal to be higher every time I train. All right, so this is the optimal training method. The overtrainer, the person that I've seen so many times this year, the person who's doing F45 5 days in a row, they are really not improving, and to be honest, they're really going down. And that's why I see so many of them. Now they don't train at all, and their training is just restoring back to normal. And the person doesn't train enough. Now this person's probably a bit lazy or doesn't enjoy exercise, and maybe doing 2 sessions a week and that's all they do. They really need to do more. So, and they're also going down. So they may be maintaining, as are these people, with eventually having a problem over the long term. All right. So the key is to try and get your frequency of training exactly like this. And remember, it comes back to the intensity. The higher the intensity, the longer the rest. But the higher the intensity, the bigger the adaptation. So you must sort of determine, okay, I need to have a mixture of low and high intensity and recovery all mixed in together. All right, so basically you can't train hard all the time. Anyone who tells me that, I just know that they're training at a low intensity, or they're just really not respecting exercise. The quality of their workouts, I know, are just not going to be good. So they don't care what they tell me they do. I just know it's pretty ordinary, because there's no way they can be at their potential if they're training 5 days straight. Probably the only day that might be is Monday, if they're Monday to Friday as such. And I just definitely know this person doesn't respect exercise and doesn't understand it. And the likelihood of injury, this person is extremely high. So no matter how hard they train, they'll never be excellent at anything, all right, because they're just really ruining their body with too much. Now, that doesn't mean you can't train every day. You just can't train hard every day. So what I might do is, I do train most days, and I might do, say, strength training. I do my strength training usually on a Tuesday or Wednesday, a Friday and a Sunday. And my big workout is the Sunday. Sometimes it might be the Friday. Now, throughout the week, I might be adding some cardio stuff, like on a bike, which is nowhere near as hard as the strength training stuff I do. Sometimes I might go for a run, and other times I'm just working on skills and stability drills. So I'm working on trying to improve my mobility, trying to improve my stability, and trying to work on the things that I know that I'm not good at, so that when I get around to my strength work and my interval work, I can perform it better than I ever have before, because I'm in a better position to do so. So then the intensity of my hard day is improved from the training I did on the other days. So can you see, I can still train all the time, and I'll go for a walk every day, but walking I don't rate as exercise. That's just something we should have been doing anyway. And I'll be trying to constantly move throughout the day to make sure I don't stiffen up, and mentally, and all the mental benefits from it as well. And my body will respond and feel great for it. All right, so an example here is this is going hard at it, real hard, exhaustion, recovery, repair's not complete yet, so I'm really throwing in some different stuff. I might even have a cardio day that's a bit of a gentle loosen up, but I won't be going hard at anything until I get to here. So it's really 4th day, so really in a week I can't really go hard more than twice, which is pretty much what I do. So I have sort of one sort of light workout, 2 hard workouts, and then some cardio and mobility, stability drills around that. Now, if I'm having a bad week where I'm not feeling good and something's not right, I really back off the cardio stuff and maybe even the intensity of the hard days. I might have 2 really easy days and only 1 hard day. So you've got to adapt to how you're feeling at the time. So with injury, people we see with injury, they actually do need to train almost every day. And none of their work will be at a high intensity. All of their stuff is low level stuff, very much stability, mobility based, and it will only have an effect if it's done every day. So in this case, I am telling them they must train every day, but none of their training can be hard. It's all about quality of movement and trying to restore joints back to their perfect position. As the program progresses and it becomes more strength oriented, then I must educate them on the fact that they can't train all the time, and that it's only about really 2 workouts in a week might be of strength orientation, the rest of it's just mobility and stability. And this is where I see people at this stage make a lot of a big mistake. Say, for example, with knee pain, I see them really overusing glute strengthening, and to try and develop try and get to where they want to be quicker, but it doesn't work that way, and all they end up doing is creating a hip problem, which becomes a lower back problem. All right, so they must understand it's a slow process, and it's all about the quality. More is not better; it never is. So anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this video, and really the one thing to really get out of this is this slide here, where you're understanding the adaptation phase and the relationship between high and low intensity. If you can get that right, you're pretty much going to get your training frequency sorted out. For more information, I'll put here, there's good free reports you can get from our website, and this little black book has a whole chapter devoted to all this sort of stuff, and programs all sort of created and designed for you that you can help you out. So go ahead and check that out at our website, and if you got any questions, leave a comment on our video for us if you like, and otherwise we'll see you on our next video.